Hi everyone, it's Ronnie and from YouTube. And something I saw recently I want to talk about is it's another thing about supplements and so on when it comes to raw vegan, fruitarian type of diets. And the I saw a post from someone that I'm connected to, and I've had this scenario a couple of times where I've seen someone who's looking to get rid of different products that they've bought over the years, like herbs and tonics and elixirs and potions and dried powders and protein powders and supplement powders and green powders, and they've got everything right. And I've been in people's houses where their cupboards are packed with that stuff, and they've got the Vitamix and a second Vitamix, and they've got the dehydrator. They've got every single product right, and they have a little bit of fruit. Right? They've got a little bit of vegetables, a little bit of fruit, and you're like, this isn't how it works. But anyway, um, and and this person is now away from a raw vegan diet, away from a vegan diet, and they're looking to sell all this stuff. And some of their friends have commented below, well, if you had to have all those supplements, it's obvious the diet wasn't healthy. And this is the problem for me. Like when we're trying to educate people and help them with coming towards a healthier diet, and the reality that the diet they're on is the deficient diet, is the poor diet, the poor quality diet, the poor quality protein, the poor quality carbohydrates, and so on, and that the raw diet of fruits primarily and vegetables is the high quality diet, the high quality protein, the high quality carbohydrate, and all the nutrition that you require. Then if we don't get that across to people, they're going to fall off at some point. If we tell people, well, this diet's okay, but you have to have all these supplements to go along with it, they're never going to believe in it, right? They're never going to believe that this diet is sufficient for them. And anytime they have the smallest, slightest issue, they don't perform as well in the gym as they think they should, they don't feel as big as they should, they don't lose as much weight as they think they should, they're going to look at supplements and all these different products. If they don't have this really strong foundation of education behind them, the first primarily thing is we need to get people away from this idea that meat is somehow good for you, healthy, protein rich or whatever. This is all marketing nonsense that's been spread for like 100 years, building up this belief in people that this is a high quality food, protein and all that stuff. Like, meat is a food that's connected to disease. The World Health Organization, if you want a very mainstream source, and this I guess is what you call appeal to authority or whatever, but sometimes appeal to authority, as long as it's correct authority and authority backed up by observation, information, science, evidence and so on, is legitimate. So when the World Health Organization say that red meat is carcinogenic, processed meat is carcinogenic, red meat is probably carcinogenic, that's a very, very strong statement for them to make about a food, about a common food that billions of people eat on a daily basis. So I don't think they're wrong. I think we need to drive that home. I think we need to drive home the fact that meat is connected with diabetes, with obesity, with heart disease, that clearly meat is connected with food poisoning in many different cases, that meat is a food that people choke on because we are not adapted to chew and eat meat, and it has to be cooked and has to be broken down, and people have to chop it up with a knife and things like that to even make it barely edible, and pour all sorts of different spices and condiments and salts and sugars and whatever else on it to bestow it with flavour that it does not inherently have for the human palate. For cats, they love the taste of meat because they can actually taste those things in meat and they respond to it. But as frugivores, as primates, we are looking for sweet carbohydrates primarily. So we're looking for sweet food, and we're also looking for maybe vegetation, for food high in nutrients, minerals, and things like that. So we're looking maybe for saltiness as well as a test of nutrition. We're looking for high acid content for the vitamins. So we've got that sour taste we're looking for. And we also moving away from bitterness, because bitterness is a sign for us of toxicity, of something that we don't want to consume. So of rottenness as well. So we have this sophisticated system, and also our nose going away from things that smell bad and are rotten, and going towards the things that smell fresh to us and vibrant, like fruits and vegetables and flowers and things like that. So the basic education, I get it. A lot of people who were big YouTubers in the raw movement, they were big YouTubers in the vegan movement, they never fully believed it. They believed it 90%, 95%, but they always had that doubt. That's what we're realising now. They never hammered home, they never got hammered home for them the education. And it either happens two ways. You either just do it long enough and then you're like, well, obviously this works for me, right? Or you actually sit down and look through the information and look again and again and again and again. And then when you hear something that brings you doubt, like, oh, this person's doing well on the paleo diet and they say this, or this book says this, well, you have to look into it. Learn about it. What does the quote say? What does the article say? What does the thing say? And what you find with all this stuff when it comes to the keto diet, the paleo diet, all of that stuff, the carnivore diet, all the same stuff, the same thing, the same diet that didn't work again and again for everyone. And what you find with that is they are using information that is often not saying what they say it says. So they quote studies that say the opposite of what they think it says, and it's completely unprofessional. It's poor information. It's a poor level of education, and also they obviously go towards the studies that are made by the meat department or whatever, the meat council or whatever. So and there's studies on both sides. There's studies made by fruit council and whatever. But the meat kind of thing comes up with studies that just go completely against all the preponderance of the consensus of science, and it's just amazing. They say there's no consensus to say that meat causes is related to heart disease, or saturated fat is related to heart disease. They say these things. It's completely wrong. This is something that's been established for so long, like from the 1940s or 50s or something. The connection between saturated fat and heart disease. It's called the diet-heart hypothesis. It's in every single nutrition textbook that you ever pick up. The diet-heart, connection, diet-heart hypothesis or whatever. And they'll argue against that and say that these people got it wrong and this person got it wrong and science has been hoodwinked. But it's not the case. It's just not the case. People ask me to share evidence in this video. Do you want me to share the evidence of diet-heart? Ancel Keys, going back to I think it's the 1950s, 1940s, been proven more and more and more ever since. You really want me to prove that for you? Are you too lazy to pick up any nutrition textbook in the world and see it sitting there? So that's the first thing. Meat is obviously full of saturated fat, if you didn't know it, and animal protein is also problematic. So we're always recommended to reduce, once again, nutrition textbook, reduce saturated fat, reduce protein, reduce, it's never saying, hey, eat loads of meat. It never says that. But we need to, or you need to be educated, some of you are carnivore people, you need to be educated as to what you're doing is not right, is not good, It's not good for you. I'm not saying that it doesn't, that people might not feel a difference on it or feel good. And I had a friend who also said that he ate meat after years of not eating meat and he got an erection the next day. Now, I know that wasn't the first time he'd eaten meat in the last few years, so I don't know why he didn't get erections the other times he ate meat, but this time he believed it, right? So it's all in his mind. Well, that's fine, if you think like that. But I was asking him, do you know what your hormones were before? Do you know what your hormones were after? Can you compare and see the difference? No one's ever got an answer for these things, and no one's ever really checked these things out. I don't know if anyone, maybe someone has done that, but vegans don't tend to have low testosterone. Testosterone, all these hormonal products, testosterone and all that stuff, it was developed for people on a vegan diet. Protein powders were developed for people on a non-vegan diet. Iron supplements were developed for people on a non-vegan diet. And even B12 supplements originally were not about people on a vegan diet. Vitamin D, another thing, none of these things were for people on a vegan, never mind raw vegan diet. At the same time, I understand some people not feeling good, especially on a cooked vegan diet. Totally understand that. And totally understand digestion being affected by cooked vegan foods and beans and grains and all that stuff. Which is, I mean, I've never really had a big problem with digestion, but it's another benefit of being raw. So you have to really have that firm level of education around that, so that you no longer have that fear, that worry, that concern. Where I'm at, and what I've always done, whenever I've doubted this lifestyle or doubted the vegan diet, I always went back to simple questions like, what would I eat in its raw state in this world? You know, if I crash landed in a forest, could I eat an animal? Probably could if I was desperate. It wouldn't be my first choice, you know. We go to if we look at other things, you know, asking myself about just basic things, like just basic simple questions like that, like what would I eat if I didn't have fire? What would I eat if I didn't have this ability to cook? It obviously always goes back to fruit. Really, it always goes back to fruit. And what is our body? What animals are we most like? Oh, we're most like the frugivores. Okay, you know, just always remembering that these are truths. You know, real truths. Do I want to go out and kill an animal? Do I have an instinct to do that? Personally, I don't. Do I want to go and eat eggs and stuff? I don't even like being around farm animals and things. I don't want to be around them. I'm not a big fan of like I don't want to be around a big cow and try and get its milk out of it and all that stuff, and try and steal an egg. Like, I'm not really into that. But I get it. If you're driven by hunger, you'll do anything. So I mean, where I'm at, I believe in the hypothesis that human beings are frugivores and that our body is adapted for eating fruit, and that's the best diet for us. When you test that hypothesis, if you just eat fruit for a while and you do it correctly and you eat enough, it also feels correct. You know, we seem to digest fruit better than any other food. The results in terms of how you feel are good. So I guess that's where I get my proof from, if I need proof. But when it comes to the supplements and all that, if people don't, or if you get into this lifestyle and the person that's teaching you is telling you need supplements, it can lead to people just going wild on supplements. And it's a shame, because they'll end up spending hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pounds on supplements, and then they'll say, fruit's expensive, isn't it? You're like, well, but you spent like hundreds of pounds on herbs. Like, you spent hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, maybe even thousands. I bet there's people that have spent thousands of pounds on herbs and supplements. And what happens in any market, you know, in any business scenario, in any lifestyle, in any group, when people are new into it, they have no information, they have no knowledge, they're completely new to it, they get excited about it, they open up to the whole idea, and they're looking to learn, and they're looking for leaders, and they're looking for people to follow and get education from and get information from. And the people that have worked out the way that people have worked out, that a lot of people who are coming into this, they're thinking supplements, they're thinking of, they're assuming that they need to have some kind of supplement or whatever. So that's why there's so many for sale to people in the natural health world. You know, natural health shops are always just full of products and supplements and powders and all that, and they never have any fruits and vegetables. You know, they're not a greengrocer. So it just, you know, people are ripe for being sold to products, you know, and they get in, they get excited. someone starts selling them one product after another, and that's what used to happen in the raw food community, and then that started to go away. It's gradually been coming back with people buying herbs and all these different things, but we need to get away from that. We need to go towards the people that are providing education, providing information about how to do the lifestyle, not about how to buy a supplement that doesn't do anything, doesn't work. So I'm that's what I'm seeing. That's something I thought I'd comment on. Hope you're all doing well. You do not need to buy all of these crazy products and all the raw food and health food websites out there. You go to some of these websites, like the guy Matt Monarch or whatever that used to be in the raw food world. I don't think that website's even there anymore, but he came back. I think he's put out some videos saying like he nearly died and whatever. And I don't know if he's eating meat again or what he's doing, but he used to have all the products under the sun on his website, all the products under the sun, David Wolf's another one. All these people, they had all these products. Why? Because people wanted to buy them. It's not really their fault that everyone wanted to buy them. They wanted to teach people about raw food initially, and then everyone wanted to buy stuff, so they thought, well, that's where the business is. That's how they created a lifestyle for themselves and a business. It's not really their fault in a sense, but anyway, so I don't really believe you need to go out and buy all these supplements and products, but I do think you need some education. I do think you need to get around people that have done this. If there's people in your locality that have done this, if there's not, then go somewhere and learn from people. And if you're not ready for this, don't worry about it yet. If you're not ready to do this, if you're still looking to maintain where you're at, don't force yourself. Just get curious about it. Start to increase the amount of fruits and vegetables in your diet. Start to enjoy it. Get around people that are healthier than you, fitter than you. Get inspired by them, and gradually that'll take you along. Maybe come to a festival, come to an event, go to a retreat. Gradually increase your curiosity, and then give up the dairy, give up the eggs, give up the processed food, give up the restaurant food, give up and go along that process. Not many people are going to do it snap overnight. If you've got a chronic disease that you're really needing help with, that's different. Maybe at that stage, try and do it overnight. Maybe do a fast. Maybe but supervised fast, or get a coach or do something and go for it. But for most of you, it's going to be a gradual process. Okay, thank you very much for watching. We'll see you in the next video.